There was a silence from the law enforcement authorities for a long time. Sam could enjoy his freedom. There was a moment when he probably started to believe that he would get away with it.
Once the dust has settled and once all the investigations have happened, that you won't be arrested for fraud?
I don't think I will be.
Nothing really happened for a whole month, then suddenly, boom, arrest in the Bahamas. So, is it over now? Is the problem solved? Will the guy responsible for one of the biggest frauds in history be sentenced to jail? What is next for the FTX customers? So these are the questions that we will try to answer today. So let's begin with a summary of what we know till today. Firstly, the most recent news about the arrest of SBF in the Bahamas, and we think, well, finally, the hand of justice has reached him, the guy is going to prison, etc. But isn't it strange that this happened just hours before the scheduled congressional testimony? The media is already creating conspiracy theories, as if not everyone in Congress would like to hear his testimonies, of course. Maybe it has something to do with his generous political donations? I mean, who knows? I'm just speculating. So then we have well-respected Kevin O'Leary, who defends FTX to the end by blaming CZ from Binance that he is responsible for this mess, despite the fact that the FTX current CEO, who is in charge of the company to uncover what happened, to make an investigation through all the papers, all the data that are in the FTX systems, and in his testimony before the House committee, he makes it clear that clients' funds were used for leverage trading by Alameda. In other words, they were commingled, that there was mismanagement of funds. In word, it is a crime, a fraud, embezzlement, etc. But here you have the short clip from the testimony, so you can hear it yourself.
The FTX group's collapse appears to stem from absolute concentration of control in the hands of a small group of grossly inexperienced and unsophisticated individuals who failed to implement virtually any of the systems or controls that are necessary for a company entrusted with other people's money or assets. Some of the unacceptable management practices identified so far include the use of computer infrastructure that gave individuals in senior management access to systems that stored customer assets without security controls to prevent them from redirecting those assets. The storing of certain private keys to access hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto assets without effective security controls or encryption. The ability of Alameda to borrow funds held at ftx.com to be utilized for its own trading or investments without any effective limits whatsoever. The commingling of assets, the lack of complete documentation for transactions involving nearly 500 separate investments made with FTX Group funds and assets, and the absence of audited or reliable financial statements, the lack of personnel in financial and risk management functions, and the absence of independent governance throughout the FTX Group. A fundamental challenge we face is that we're in many respects starting from near zero in terms of the corporate infrastructure and record keeping that one would expect in a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
So if we all know this, tell me, how can someone justify SBF when it is an obvious crime? Additionally, we have a fun fact. It turned out that Sam was using some cheap accounting software that is popular within small businesses in the United States. In a multi-billion-dollar financial institution, it just blows my mind how everybody, even angel investors and creditors, got fooled by his appearance, where in reality they simply seem not so sophisticated and intelligent as they maybe thought they are. As Mr. Ray III, the guy who you saw a minute ago, was saying, sophisticated? Perhaps, in the way they were able to hide it from people. Frankly, right in front of their eyes. This is just a plain old embezzlement. Old school, old school. That was the quote from Mr. Ray. So, from one of the popular angel investors, Simon Dixon, which I highly recommend you to follow on Twitter, for example. I think he also has a YouTube channel. Basically, what he said in one of the interviews he gave is that venture capitalists simply saw an opportunity of high return in crypto firms that they could got early in the company, and after the capital flown to this entity, they simply could sell their position to the market and essentially earn like a scammer, making pump and dumps. So I think this term sounds familiar very much to you. So the plan was simple, being the first person who got the token at a huge discount. And after some time, when the crypto market had been developing, getting traction and so on, and when the next time they saw somebody like Sam, the SBF, who graduated from a popular school, who has political connections, he basically went through without any deeper due diligence analysis of the business. So essentially, they got too greedy. That's it. Same things as always. If convicted on all 8 charges filed by the US DOJ, the Department of Justice, on Thursday, Sam Bankman-Fried could face up to 115 years in prison, though of course he's unlikely to be sentenced to such a lengthy term. According to Manhattan US Attorney Damian Williams, the FBI, SEC, and CFTC have been working around the clock to unravel what happened in one of the biggest financial frauds in American history. So I guess that explains everything. You can check the whole testimony and listen to all the crazy things that were uncovered. I will add the link in the description for you because it was published, of course, by the authorities. And some other popular media as well, like I think it was Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, and so on. Okay. So given the aforementioned likely multi-million-dollar donations to support politicians in the form of pre-election donations, I am not at all surprised that not everyone wants to see the FBS testify in Congress very soon. And generally speaking, this is not the end, and probably many more fascinating things will see the light of the day. But as you can expect, the whole truth will not be known. Now we move finally to the victims of this whole charade, the retail clients who entrusted their funds to FTX. Apart, of course, from the institutions and creditors. So, as you know, the company filed for bankruptcy Chapter 11. Mr. Ray was appointed as new CEO to monitor everything, to check what's left, how much is it worth, and uncover everything, as I said before. Who was colluding with them, what politicians were involved, etc. And there will be, or is already, I don't exactly know the US law, another independent entity binded by the law which will ensure that the company will pay back the money to the creditors and customers from what is left basically after the liquidation. That is how it works right now, I think. But there are also 2 other scenarios. One is that some other company will just buy FTX, and with that transaction the funds could be further retrieved, or the buyer will take the debt and pay back the customers. And there are 2 ways in this scenario. And the best one for the customers, and the second scenario, is that FTX has indeed some assets, some non-liquid maybe assets, and the victims will just be given equity basically, and they could just wait for another bull run like it was in the case of Mt. Gox, and then hopefully sell it at a more favored price. But the process can last for a very long time. With Celsius, it is already 6 or right now 7 months. So you need to be prepared for that. It could take, some say, even 2 years at least. So you will not see those funds anytime soon. And also, there is even an option that you will not see them at all. So you need to be prepared for that financially and, of course, emotionally. If you are one of the victims, it would be best for you if you at least saved some proof that you got funds in FTX, some screenshot or something, since there is a rumor that many things had been deleted. We know that there was a poor oversight, so yeah, it is important to have some other hard proofs since their website doesn't work right now. So for customers who didn't have that much money, or they simply can't afford a lawyer, it is wise to look for groups where other victims are gathering, and therefore they can crowdfund a legal representation, for example, and file legal lawsuits and so on. Also, by doing that, you will be up to date with what is going on currently with this case. So, of course, where some news will pop up, I will share with you on this channel on YouTube or on other social media like TikTok and Instagram, because I'm also posting for this channel as well. So yeah, that will be all for this video, for the whole summary of the situation. So guys, let me know, what are you thinking about this whole collapse of the FTX, about this whole charade that it turned out to be, and what are you thinking about the current situation with Binance? Is Binance going to be the next to fall, of course, and to bankrupt? Let me know, of course, in the comments. Let's open a discussion. I will be glad to talk to you about that. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.